Finally, we have an update on Forge UI. It was definitely needed. In this video, I will show you how to install the latest version of Forge UI. Then I'll install 3 different versions of Flux, the new model everyone is talking about. I'll also add the art styles in this new version and show you how to quickly revert to an older version if you miss features like SVD and other previous functionalities. First, I will show you how to install Forge. Go to this page. I will add links in the description and on Discord. Then if you scroll down, you can find the installation section. This works only with NVIDIA video cards. And in this video, I'll demonstrate the installation on Windows. Also, you should know that there have been a lot of changes in the last few days, so it has been quite unstable. However, I will show you later how to revert to a previous version if something doesn't work. Click on the link where it says download one-click package. They had a faster version, 2.4, but it's broken. So this one with version 2.3 works for me. Then create a folder on your drive and save the zip archive there. As you can see, I have quite a few versions installed in different folders to experiment with. I might name this folder Forge Flux since it supports Flux, but you can choose any name you like. Inside this folder, save the zip archive. In the instructions, it says to uncompress the file, then use the update.bat to update, and finally run the run.bat file. So let's do that. You can use software like WinZip or WinRAR to uncompress the file, which might take a while. Once you've verified that all the files are extracted without errors, you can delete the zip file to save space. Double-click on the update file. Once it's finished, press any key like Enter. Next, you have the run file, which you use to start Forge UI. You can create a shortcut to the desktop for easy access next time. As you can see, I have this commit hash here, a long string of characters that shows the exact version you're running. I'll show you later how to switch to older versions. Let it run until it finishes. The first run will take longer because it installs all the requirements and downloads a Stable-diffusion model so you can start generating right away. This is how the interface looks. In the top left where it says UI, you'll find some buttons that let you change the interface for the specific model you're using, such as XL, Flux, or SD. In this case, we choose SD since the downloaded model is SD v1.5. We only have that model in the list for now. Here you can add a quick prompt and then click the generate button to get an image based on that text and a random seed. If you click the button again, you'll get a different image. In the negative prompt section, you add words that describe what you don't want in the image. From here, you can adjust the sampling steps and the width and height of the image. When the seed is set to -1, it's random, but you can specify a fixed seed number. If you click Generate, you'll get an image based on the prompt and that exact seed. Clicking Generate again with the same seed will give you the same image unless you change the prompt, which will create a variation. Click on the dice icon to set the seed to random. Under the image, you can find more information about the generation, including the prompt, all the settings used, and the time taken, which is about a second in this case. In this case, the SD 1.5 model was trained on 512 pixel images. So when generating images at 1024 pixels, it may sometimes repeat or distort features because it's not used to handling that larger resolution. So use the recommended sizes for each model. In the command window, you can find more information about generations and errors. If you want to close Forge, simply close this command window. If I try to generate now, you get a connection error. So close that browser tab and then go to the webui folder. Here you'll find a file named webuiuser.bat. You can right-click on it and choose to edit or open it with a text editor. Inside this file that you'll see arguments. And if someone tells you to use specific arguments, they mean to add them to this file. For example, if you add --theme dark, you can change the theme to dark mode. In this file, if you remove the comments that rem in front, you can add paths to different model locations if they are stored elsewhere. Save the file, and then let's test it. Open the run file, which will start Forge. You'll see that it's launching with the arguments, and at the end, you'll get the nice dark theme for Forge. For comparison, this is the default theme, and this is how it looks now. There are many models you can use. Right now, we only have one. If you go to the Civit AI website and click on models, you will find all kinds of models. A popular SDXL model, for example, is Juggernaut, which I've used in many of my videos. If you go to the filters, you can select the base model, including checkpoints, LoRa, and various types, even the new FLUX models. Let me show you where I got the FLUX models for this video. From this page, you can download the FLUX Dev version, which is the floating point 8 version. It's 17 gigabytes in size, and you can download it using this button. This version is for those with newer video cards that have more VRAM, but it provides very good image quality. This file should be placed in the webui folder, then in the models folder, and finally in the Stable-diffusion folder. If you download LoRa or text encoders, you should place them in their respective folders. There are categories for different types of models, but checkpoints like SD, SDXL, and FLUX go into the Stable-diffusion folder. You can see we're in the right location now because we can see the existing SD model here. So save the FLUX model in this folder as well. There's another dev version on this page called the NF4 version, which is a bit smaller at 12 gigabytes. This version is likely suitable for video cards with 12 gigabytes of VRAM or more to have a decent speed for your generation. They keep releasing new versions, and right now, version 2 is the best. Download and save this model in the same location. On this page, there's the FLUX Schnell version, which is a faster model. While the image quality might not be as high as the dev versions, it's quick and produces acceptable results. They keep releasing new versions, but I'll download this one called BNB NF4. You can also try versions like Bitte or Salto, but I'll be using this version for now. So I'm downloading it and placing it in the same folder. To recap, we have the Dev Floating Point 8 version, the larger model with high quality results. The Dev NF4 version, similar quality to FP8 but smaller in size. The Schnell version, medium quality but faster. All FLUX models require a good video card compared to SDXL or SD models. After the download is complete, if your interface was open, you might not see the new model in the list. Click on the refresh button, and now you should see all 3 downloaded models. Let's start with the best one, the Floating Point 8 version. Since we're using a FLUX model, you'll want to switch to the FLUX interface. If you're wondering how it differs, first, it doesn't support a negative prompt, so the CFG scale needs to be set to 1. It also suggests some recommended settings with values around 1024 pixels, similar to the SDXL models. FLUX can handle even higher resolutions, but it will take more time to generate the images. Let's add a prompt and give it a test to see what we get. That's a cute cat, isn't it? The first generation always takes more time because it needs to load the model. On my RTX 4090, it took 28 seconds the first time, but on an RTX 2060, it took even 9 minutes. The next generation should be faster, so if I try again, you can see that it now takes only 14 seconds. It's not as fast as SDXL, but it's still a good speed for the quality it offers if you have a good video card. Some people get better speeds with different options on the top, like various combinations, swap methods, or swap locations. Try them all to see what works best for you. And for me, the auto setting worked well. Just remember that the first generation always takes longer. So I make sure to note the speed of the second generation, after you make any changes, not the first. You should visit this page to find more information on how different options work. As mentioned, they're still working on it, so some things might not work, or they might work now, but change with it new versions. At the end of the page, you can see discussions where other people share their problems and solutions, or you can ask your own questions and maybe get some help. In this video, I covered all the steps I took and sped up only the loading part, so it worked for me, but it might not work the same way on your system. Check this page to possibly find a solution. If you have a model that requires a separate VAE file, placing that file in the models and VAE folder will make it appear here. Let's create a 1024 pixel square image. As you saw with the SD model, it generated 2 heads for the cat, but with FLUX, we don't have that problem. If you're using the FLUX Dev version, make sure the steps are set between 20 and 30. Keep in mind that more steps will take more time. And after a certain point, increasing the number of steps may not necessarily make the image look better. It might even make it worse. They say it supports different resolutions and sizes up to 2 megapixels. A megapixel equals 1 million pixels, so 2 megapixels equals 2 million pixels. The total number of pixels in an image is calculated by multiplying its width and height in pixels. For example, 1920 multiplied by 1080 is slightly over 2 megapixels. Here are some tests I did. This one looks quite sharp. A slightly larger size also looks good and can add more details. I tried even larger sizes, still under 2 megapixels, and they looked okay. At the limit of 2 megapixels, the image wasn't the sharpest for this seed, but I got lucky with another seed and still got a nice image. However, larger sizes resulted in less sharp images. The good news is that I didn't get duplicate heads or poor composition, and some images still looked quite good depending on the prompt. Keep in mind that at such large sizes, the generation time increases and the quality might not be as high. For this seed, at full HD size, the image was good, but with the second seed, it wasn't as great. The same issue occurred with portrait sizes that went over 2 megapixels. So keeping the resolution under 2 megapixels usually yields nice results. If not, try adjusting the prompt, seed, or samplers. I'm selecting the second dev model, the one with NF4 in the name. Keep in mind that since it's a dev model, it also needs 20 steps to work well. The first generation takes longer, but on my system, the second generation was faster than the floating point 8 model by half a second. Now let's test the Schnell NF4 version. This one only needs 4 steps to run, so I will interrupt the generation. It takes a moment to stop, and you can see where it stopped at the beginning, where there was still noise. I'll set it to 4 steps, but you can go up to 8 steps if you prefer. Here's the result. As usual, the next generations are faster. This one is about 4 to 5 times faster than the dev version, taking only 3.5 seconds. In the settings tab, you can adjust various options such as the path to save the images, the format and file name for saving, and other preferences. If you go down to the other section, you'll find defaults. You can click View Changes to see how the current settings differ from the default ones. Click Apply so that the next time you open the interface, it will use the same settings you have now. And I have an older video where I discuss these settings in more detail. On this version of Forge also comes with some styles you can use. It says styles integrated, so you can choose one, like the 3D style. When you run it, you get a 3D render style. That's quite cute, isn't it? These styles should work with all models, although SDXL is familiar with more art styles than Flux. Still, applying these styles will have an effect, even if some art styles are not fully recognized. If you've seen my other videos, you probably saw that I created over 300 art styles that work with both Comfy UI and Forge UI. These are positive and negative prompts combined with your prompt to achieve a specific style. You can click download and save them to your webui folder. You'll know you're in the right directory if you can see the integrated styles already there. Both should be visible now. If you have an older version of Forge, you might not see these integrated styles, but this is the folder where you should place the CSV styles file. If Forge was open when you downloaded the file, you might not see the new styles in the list. Close your command window for Forge and run it again to see the updated list. Now my styles will appear first, followed by the integrated ones. You can easily recognize my styles because they have a category first, followed by a vertical bar, and then the style name. Let's test it with a prompt using a Flux dev model. Remember, the steps should be set between 20 and 30 for the dev model. I'll generate an image first without applying a style so we can compare. Here's the result with the cat. I'll reuse this seed, so when I click to generate again, it's no longer random. Each time you change the prompt or use the same prompt with a different style, the generation will be different, even if you use the same seed. For cinematic portrait style, I got the same cat, but with a more cinematic look. If you click on this folder, it will open the output directory. Sometimes it remains on the taskbar. So if I open that folder, I can see a folder with today's date inside containing all the images generated with text to image. This way you can compare the results before and after applying the cinematic style. You can search for a word like cute, and it will show you all the styles with that word in the name. For example, if I test cartoon cute, I get this cute cat. You can also search by category or scroll down to see them organized by type, such as photography, drawing, 3D, design, and art. If I choose dark academia, I get a style reflecting that theme. You can also combine it with another style like cute, resulting in a combination of the two styles. This way, you can create unique blends based on different style influences. When I tried to create a vector design, I ended up with a blurred image. This issue occurred only with the dev model and not with the Schnell model. One solution I found was to try a different sampler and scheduler. For example, using DPM++, a 2M with SGM uniform helped me get a clearer image. But with other prompts and seeds, I encountered the same problem. So I tried another sampler like Juan. While this one fixed the image, it is much slower than other samplers. I'm only changing to Juan or similar samplers if a specific image doesn't work and I don't have any other options. So different samplers can produce different results and vary in speed. I also have some nice sculpture styles in the craft category. I'll close Forge and show you something. On this page, you can find commits. Commit refers to a specific update or change made to the Forge project's code base on GitHub. Each commit represents a point in the project's history where modifications were made, such as adding new features, fixing bugs, or updating documentation. So the ones that are marked as verified are more stable, and if you click on that button, you can copy the full SHA. When you paste it into Notepad, you'll see a long string of numbers and characters. So if you scroll down, and you'll see that more pages with commits. That string of characters is important because it allows us to get the exact same version. If we encounter a bug, we can revert to a previous stable version and return to the main version once the issue is fixed. If you watched an older video, you'll see that it features an earlier version with SVD and other elements that the new version doesn't have. However, it also lacks Flux and the new features. So how do we revert to a different version? I found a method on a Chinese site that is quite simple. In Notepad, paste this text. You can get it from Discord. This script sets the path to the Git binary, navigates to the webui directory, and checks out a specific commit, that long string, using Git. This effectively reverts the code in that directory to the state it was in at that commit. For example, when I recorded this video, this was the latest verified version with a commit starting with AAD. However, by the next day, many more edits had been made, and many of these are not verified. If I keep going, I can eventually find the version from yesterday that worked for me. So if you watch this video and something doesn't work as it does for me, one possible reason could be that you have the latest version because you clicked on the update bat file. The latest version might have some bugs, which is why it can be useful to revert to a previous version. So the commit I added here is quite old, but worked well for me. It includes the SVD tab that people kept asking about. You can try different newer versions to see what works best for you. Go to File and click Save As, then navigate to the folder where you have the run and update files. Name it rollback.bat and set the save as type to all files. Click Save and it should appear in the folder. Now, if you run that rollback file, it will indicate that it's switching to that commit version. You can press enter to continue. This process is similar to changing a train's route to make it go in a different direction. So now we can click on Run to open Forge. You'll see it's now running the commit I specified, and it will download all the necessary components to make it work. The first time might be slower, but after that, it should start up pretty quickly. So now we have an older version, which includes the SVD tab and other tabs that the new version didn't have at the time of this recording. This version works well with SD and SDXL models, but doesn't support FLUX models. If I select a FLUX model and try to run it, you'll see an error in the command line. This indicates that only the latest version of Forge is compatible with FLUX models. So how do we switch back to the main version to get the latest updates? Open Notepad again and paste this text inside. Now go to File, Save As, and place it in the same folder as Rollback and Update for Save As type. Choose all files and name it something like rollforward.bat, then click Save. Now, if we run the rollforward bat file, you'll see a message indicating that the previous commit with 29 has been switched back to the main branch. Press any key to close that message. Now, if I run Forge again, you'll see that it's back to the main version, the version I used when I installed and updated Forge. You can see that this new version includes Flux and other updates, but no longer has the SVD tab and some of the other tabs from the older version. If you go to the PNG Info tab, you can drag or upload an image you generated with Forge. I'll pick one from the output folder where the images are usually saved. On the right, you'll see the information, like prompts and settings used for that image. From here, you can send it to text to image, which will add the prompt, including styles in the same seed. So if you generate it again, you'll get the exact same image. The result is this cool portrait. You can also make the image bigger by clicking on High-Res Fix. Make sure to adjust the settings for it here. I'll send it to image, where you can almost replicate everything except for styles. If you want a different style, you can add that here, but I'll keep the same style to get a larger image. For the size, I'll keep the same ratio, but increase it to full HD. I can do this because I have 24 gigabytes of VRAM, but you may need to use a smaller size if it crashes. For denoise, I'll use 0.35, and for seed, I'll set it to random to generate multiple variations. Running it now will give you a larger image in full HD with nice details. So Flux is quite capable with the right prompts. Let's do some comparison between models to wrap up this video. I added the model name on top and the number of steps on the bottom. The Schnell model is clearly the fastest of all, followed by the Dev NF4, which is slower, and then the Dev Floating Point 8 version, which is slightly slower depending on your system. For realism in photography, the Schnell model may not be the best, but it works quite well for illustrations. It tends to add more contrast and vibrant colors compared to the other models and is fairly good with text, especially when compared to SDXL. The two Dev versions produce very similar results, but the Floating Point 8 version offers more detail and accuracy, following the prompt a bit better. If your video card can handle it, you should test both models to see the difference in speed. For me, the difference is only half a second, so using the NF4 version may not be worth it when the Floating Point 8 version provides slightly more detail. If your video card is weaker, try the Schnell version. If it still can't handle it, try the SDXL models, and if that's still too much, go with the SDV5 models. With an NVIDIA card, you can generate images for free on your computer. It's been a long week and I need a break. Thank you all for your support. See you on Discord or in the Facebook group. Leave a like or a comment if you found something useful. Have a great day.